Okay, I'm about to make two types of shot. One because I want to drink, but also I want to illustrate the way you can dynamically do shots on the Lelit Elizabeth. So I'm going to use button 2, and button 2 is set up with a pre-infusion. That's button 1 is 10 seconds, a pre-infusion of 11 seconds. Okay, I'm going to raise that a little bit to 12. Okay, so I've got a 12-second pre-infusion on button 2. Now, in the advanced settings, button 2 is set up for a short pump run for a steam pressure pre-infusion. If you read the review, you'll see why. And a longer pump run, 2 or 3 seconds longer, for a non-steam pressure pre-infusion. There's no little E symbol, so the steam boiler in this shot is on, and I can prove that by running a little bit of steam out for you. Okay, so that steam boiler definitely on. So let's do a shot and see first a shot with steam pre-infusion. So we'll start off with steam pre-infusion, watch the gauge, it'll light up, watch what happens. The pump runs, and it's set to run for about 3 seconds to fill the headspace, then it stops, and now see that constant pressure is remaining because the steam pressure is being applied to the coffee. See, it's just constantly applied, and then it ramps up to about just under 10 bar, and you can see the coffee coming out. And I'm going to run to about 28-ish grams because I only loaded 16 in the portafilter. I might go just to 30. There we go. I've just gone to 30 grams. Now what it's doing, it's refilling the steam boiler a little bit, because I'd steamed and done some water earlier, but also because a little bit of steam water boiler goes into the brew boiler to give that push. And the reason we run that pump, very briefly, is just to fill the headspace, which limits the amount of superheated steam boiler water that goes in the brew boiler. And as you can see, the brew boiler has not overheated, it's quite stable, it's probably a fraction below 93. Now I'm going to go and, as you can see, it's just changed. Now I'm going to go and produce another shot, and this time I'm going to turn the steam boiler off just before I make the shot, and you'll see the difference. Okay, for you guys it's probably only been a few seconds. For me, I've been grinding and prepping the next shot. What I'm going to do is just show you as well what I do when I'm making one shot after another. Normally I would leave this out, and I leave it out for a second or two because it drains the puck easier. I'll knock the puck out and I'll get that in the portafilter, and then what I'll do, I'll take that and a paintbrush, and I will just brush out the portafilter with a dry paintbrush, because there's no point cleaning it yet. And as you can see, the portafilter comes out nice and clean, no problem. And it dries in seconds because it's already really hot. I don't need to clean the group because that's already clean. Now the only thing is, with a spouted portafilter, and I'm having to walk around the camera, you have drips, the potential for drips from the spout, which you don't actually have on a naked. I normally use naked portafilters or bottomless, so you need to be careful of that. So we're going to load this up, okay, and this time I'm going to run an espresso shot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it without the steam boiler on, and it'll give a different type of shot. Let's put my little grating up there. It's a coffee slide, so fit in an espresso cup, get my scales. Pop those in as well. So they're all ready. Now, something else is just to mention, if you've watched this video, I was getting an annoying rattle in the tank, and I couldn't work out what it was, because it's a really quiet machine. The quieter the machine is, especially, you know, since I put the Mara X pump in it, the quieter the machine is, the more you notice even the slightest noise. And it was this, it was the in-tank filter rattling against the bottom of the tank. So I just removed it, but if you do that, you remove it, you've got to make sure your water is very, very clean. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is remind you we had a 12-second infusion, and if you remember before, 3 seconds, and then the needle stayed steady under the pressure of the steam boiler. I'm going to turn the steam boiler off. There we go. And we've got the little E symbol. That steam boiler is now off, and we'll get a different shot on button 2. It'll probably run for 5 or even 6 seconds, and then you'll see the needle drop back as it enters a bloom phase. This is when no pressure's applied. We soak the coffee puck and we're just letting it marinate. Watch. So it fills the headspace, it starts to push a little bit of water in the puck, then stops. And look at the brew needle dropping down, dropping down, dropping down as the pressure releases, a little bit of flow, and away it goes. Now, probably for that type of shot, I might need to grind a tiny bit finer, but it should taste okay as an espresso. And I'm just going to get about 28. Now, that's a much shorter shot. I've gone for a more restricted shot, so I've got slightly less volume. But as you see, the time's slightly lower. I prefer another 5 to 8 seconds on the pour. I'd probably grind a little tiny bit finer. But it showed you the big difference between the shot just by turning the steam boiler off, which disabled steam pre-infusion and automatically enables bloom phase pre-infusion. And I'll leave the steam boiler off now because I'm not going to use it. And you can control the pressure of steam pre-infusion if you want by what temperature you run the steam boiler at. The higher the temperature, the higher the pressure of steam pre-infusion. The lower the temperature, the more gentle the pressure of steam pre-infusion that's applied.